Hello, hello. Good morning, afternoon, evening. We're back. It's a Friday. Happy Friday. For the weekend here. So we're going to keep working on our refactoring. What we did yesterday is we set up all of our inputs for the cutaway system, which is the system that lets us peel away the walls and the floors of our starship. Right now it's just a 3-axis system based on our like WASD QE. We'll probably work on an alternative system. I just want to get it working, and then we can think about the paradigm. Hey, Ferlansky. Yo, yo, yo. How's it going? Something just happened. Something just happened? Like 50 people just followed me. That can't be right. Well, we're at 169 followers, so I'm not going to complain. Okay. We didn't get a raid. Or a shout out. No, these names all have numbers at the end of them. Did I get botted? I don't know. These look like real names, but who knows? Maybe they're not. They're word series of numbers. Okay, well, that's an interesting way to start the morning. Yeah, I guess so. I guess bots did something nice for a change. I'm sure they'll all be gone by tomorrow. I didn't do anything to warrant, like, my follower count being increased by 50%. Okay, oh well, let's get back to it. Yeah, we've got our cutaway accumulator, which is keeping track of when we're ticking over the coordinates that we want to cut away. And then we pass that down to the ship, which will increment or decrement cutaway coordinates. The ship itself is responsible for the z-index, so that it knows which level is active. And then down in the level, we do a little bit more. Actually just control visibility. Anyway, how's it going with you? Did you submit your jam game? So this is what we need to work on now. We need to work at the bottom of the increment or decrement cutaway coordinates message bus. You're good. You submitted, but for reasons you don't understand, it doesn't work properly on itch. Oh no, do you mean like the web build? Web build doesn't work properly? Hey, Robotech. How's it hanging? All right, so what was our plan with this? So now we just need to do the XY incrementation, right? Where do I have that written down? I have that written down somewhere. Is it really just take the accumulator and floor it? Oh no, we don't have to do that because we have the ticks. The individual ticks. Oh, so this isn't the bottom of the bus because we're actually going to need to punch down one layer further because we actually need to inform the TileMapLayer that we are going to be using tile data runtime update and then actually doing the tile data runtime update. And we're going to need to, we were doing that at the level of the tile map, but now we have the tile map layer. So we need to punch down into the specific tile map layer and do it there. So that's interesting. It's going to be interesting too because of how we've split things across multiple layers per level. Okay. I think there's one script just not running on the web build. Huh. I mean, web builds in Godot are kind of finicky, especially if you're on anything other than like Windows. I know Mac, it's like very weird and buggy. Oh yeah, you 3D printed your robot. I saw a picture of that somewhere. I forgot what stream I was watching. That looked really cool. It was like a mask with these very creepy lifelike eyes. That seems really awesome. All right, so all we really need to do here is define the new cutaway coordinates. So we can do something similar to what we're doing up here. You could say like variable cumulative coordinates is clamp I. Oh, it's vector 2i. We need to consider the maximum and the minimum. Are we saving that here? We are. Cutaway max, cutaway min. Okay. So we'll clamp it then. Clamp I. Cumulative, or it's going to be cutaway coordinates dot x plus accumulator ticks dot x. Cutaway min, cutaway max. Easy. Base is completely done now. Oh, is it more than just the eyes? That's awesome. I should have expected you to be like someone who makes robots considering your name. But it never occurred to me. It's cutaway min and cutaway. Oh, okay, those are also vectors. Eyes, mouth, and nose working on the skull now. Oh, sick. That's super cool. All right, so we've got our cumulative coordinates. We can say if cumulative coordinates are not equal to. Oh, well, we know they're going to be not equal to, huh? We don't even pass this down unless there's a difference, right? Although, no, we still need to check for it. Because we might pass this down just because the Z index changed. So we still need to see. Yeah, you're teaching yourself both game dev and robotics. Oh, nice. The game is good. We're back to working on the main project, which is like our FTL-like, like a sort of side-on isometric FTL-like game. And we updated to Godot 4.3, which has this brand new node, the TileMapLayer, which is super cool, where they've split out each layer in the tile map to be its own node. And it's pretty rad, but we're having to like refactor all our code to account for that. So kind of we're in refactoring hell. Not that bad though. We've only been doing it for a day or two. We're taking the opportunity to make some changes to how we were architecting everything. It's pretty good. All right, so if the cumulative coordinates are not the same as the cutaway coordinates, do a bunch of stuff. Okay, now here's where we would get this part. So this is where we grab this old code here. Let's uncomment it at first. Now let's grab it. Throw it in here. Tile and hull tiles. So for now, let's just work on the hull tiles. We can cut away other stuff later. So level. So this level concept we no longer need. So what was hull tiles before? Was it like a nested dictionary, or was it a dictionary with an array? We can take out that part. For tile and hull tiles, tile.x is greater than cutaway coordinates. So we can just take out these references to the level because we've now encapsulated it so that each level is worried about itself. We're not doing it like from above. You're worried about switching to Godot 4.3? Refactoring is going to be miserable. I think you kind of time it based on where you're at in a project's lifetime. Like I jumped the gun and downloaded 4.3 beta 1 because we were running into some serious issues around tile maps, and the new TileMapLayer node specifically addresses the exact issues we were running into. So I jumped the gun and did it. I would not recommend doing it otherwise. And I think it's one of those things where it's like if you're in the early days of a project, or if you really need something from the update, I would just bite the bullet. But if you're towards the end of a project or the project's like pretty mature and you don't really need anything from the new version, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I know people who are still in 3 point whatever, 3.x. Not just because they have a project they've been working on for a long time, but just because that's what they're like used to. Hey, Vibe and Game Dev, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. The vibes have arrived. You're only a month in, so maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, if you have a tile map, I was wondering about that, Vibes. I was like, I'm pretty sure he already follows this channel. I remember Vibes. You lost your other account? Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think it really depends on the given project. There was some stuff for like pixel stabilization. I would just read the Godot 4.3 snapshot, like a dev snapshot. I would like check out that snapshot and see what's in here and see if there's anything you care about. There is some good stuff for web builds coming that should make web builds work better cross-platform. Improvement to pixel stability. I'm not sure about this. I've never noticed any pixel instability, but you know, if they say it's there, I believe them. 2D physics stuff that came in, some parallax. I feel like parallax is something that your game could do well with because your game's like a side scroller with like open backgrounds. That could be good for you. This is why I did it. TileMapLayers as nodes. This is like my shit right here. Cool importing stuff, editor stuff. So it looks like maybe some issues. The interactive music support is really interesting too. Why did my music stop? I got Pretzel Rocks to work again, and they updated, and I have a bunch more. I have access to a bunch more music now, so I'm hoping that we'll get some good variety. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'd say, like, I think you said you have quite a bit of more work you want to do on the game. I might end up updating my Jam game to 4.3 when it comes out, just because of this single-threaded web exports thing. It should make Godot web builds much more compatible, but they currently have some audio issues. But that's I think they go into that in a separate blog post. But I'm interested in 4.3 for the web updates. I don't know if I care about anything from rendering or animation. C# supports better. That's good. GDScript has some new stuff, which is cool. I haven't actually need to read the GDScript changes. I've not actually read those. But yeah. Yeah, I would consider it, I guess. I don't know. Architecture. The architecture of jam games is always rough either way, right? Because you're doing everything so quickly. One second, I'm gonna sneeze. Of course, announcing that I was gonna sneeze meant that I couldn't sneeze. So standing by on that. All right, let's fix this. So if not is cutaway tiles just not exist? Is this our problem? So right now we're recording cutaway tiles is tile.x, tile.y, 1. We're hard coding 1 because this is a hull tile, and hull is 1. If deck plates are 0, hull plates are 1, door panels are 2, decorations are 3. We're doing it that, and then we have level here. There's an argument to be made for doing it this way. I would kind of want to reverse it though. I would want to put the 1 last as the W and put the layer as the index. So we would say, so this is layer. We would code in our level height. We'd say our level height. An argument to be made to do this. Oh, well, no, this doesn't make a lot of sense. So each level will have its own. Never mind. Ignore me. There is an argument to be made to be handling this part somewhere else. Somewhere higher up so that it can be aware of all the different layers, but let's do it down here for now. Simple. Let's just get rid of the W component for now. All right, so very bottom of this, we would want to update the actual cutaway coordinates. Cumulative coordinates. Call it cumulative cutaway. Okay. Xlorox is being weird again. Play the music, man. Every time I think they're doing okay. Problems. I haven't been able to find a good alternative, though. I would need to seriously change the way I organize my streams. Like, I would need to have stream audio that was separate from the VODs. So I would need to use, like, Twitch Soundtrack or something like that. And then I would need to not multi-stream to YouTube. I would need to, like, upload my YouTube VODs separately, which I, like, kind of don't want to do. All right. So this should be correctly recording which tiles we want to cut away. And it's recording the tiles' absolute X and Y value, right? And that's maybe not right. Any sailors in here? Hey, Pheasant SC2. No, we're still working on the our FTL-like here. Still refactoring. We need to account for the relative height difference of these different tile maps, because the way the tile maps work, they get their coordinates. Like, there's just one mesh. You can kind of see it in orange here. There's just one mesh that goes across the whole thing, and it gets its coordinate from this mesh. And there's just one of them, so it doesn't account for the z-indexing. So we need to plug the z-indexing in ourselves. We used to do that like this. We would pass whenever we were doing... So how are we recording this? Because we're recording these all here. This is all this stuff in ready. So we were recording the tiles using their relative map, which is this plus level times 4 stuff. This correctly maps the tiles' absolute tile mapping to the relative tile mapping. So we need to do this. So let's throw this stuff. Where are we going to do this? I guess we need to do this per level. Let's grab all this. We'll trim out what we don't need. A lot of code to go through here. Hey, Quellis. So which character in the Iliad am I? I'm Homer. You know? No, I'm not. That was, honestly, Digital Iliad was what I was going to call this game. It's like the name of this game. And then I named all my stuff after it, like... And I've been trying to make a game name to this for a long time. It's gone through many different iterations. But, this is the current iteration of it. It's this kind of FTL-like kind of Space Odyssey thing. I can't call it something Odyssey because Odyssey is, like, wildly overused. This is where we are. And then, yeah, Digital Iliad became like more of a brand name. So I'm not sure if I'm still going to use that name for this game, honestly. Okay, so let's take out the per level stuff. We can take out this for loop. So we take out the for loop, we push everything down. Take out this accumulator stuff. We can take this, we can change this. So cutaway coordinates is now going to be cutaway max. I'm just going to say equals cutaway max. All right, let's go through this. I like this FTL premise. You basically don't make games for landlubbers. Yeah. No. If you want to be on land, go look for someone else. Why do I hard code this value here? Why don't I just say, is there no like integer.max? Is there no like maximum integer value that I can just plug in? No, I just took these numbers. No. Okay, that's fine. So many errors. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you copy and paste a code. Whole cloth here. So all of these appends are no longer appends. They're just assignments. We got ads in a minute. How's it going, Quellis? Your game was awesome. Looking at that yesterday. I really like the active involvement of the player avatar in a tower defense. I know that's not like unprecedented, especially if you think about like the old hero games, like the hero like based like tower defense games, like classic like Warcraft ones. But we can keep talking about this after the ad break. The Godot docs literally has an example where they hard code a max int. Yep. You'd think it would be a property of int itself, but whatever. I guess that's fine. So I'm just doing it here. I'm doing it here so that we know, because the actual max value will always be higher than negative whatever. Do I have this in the right order? That's my question. Oh yeah, it's negative whatever 8 to positive whatever 7. I guess it's because 0 is a positive number. We're excited about it coming together. So yeah, it seems to be coming together. Are you doing the art? I know it looked like kind of more programmer art stuff, but I'm just curious. Okay, get used cells. So here's the issue. So instead of doing a 4 for each level, we need to do a 4 for each of these layers. That's not perfect, but I want to be able to refer to them specifically because I treat them differently. Firstly, let's get rid of this crew tiles dictionary. Add time. BRB, one sec. Be back. You don't think you've seen the game yet? There's really not much to see right now. This is like the concept of like what a bridge scene or something would look like. I'm doing the pixel art myself. It's really low res. And then we've just been prototyping different ways to construct all of that and be able to manipulate it. Our big problem that we have is because we're not using the normal isometric view, foreground walls block everything behind them, so we're developing our cutaway system to be able to peer into the ship. That's kind of what we're working on right now. It's not enough to just remove the vertical layers. Yeah, it's basically FTL but stacked. So it's like a 3D FTL where there's more verticality, which I think gives us a lot more opportunities. This is a really ugly prototype layout. I need to skin it. That's what I really need to do. I need to draw up a skin for the exterior of the ship. Oh, Spoose Dreams. How's it going? Happy Friday. All right, so this is our issue. We're getting the used cells. So we could still do this here. So the choice that we have now is basically, I think we should do this here. I don't think we should be handling the cutaway stuff on each individual TileMapLayer node. So we'll probably just do some on-ready stuff. Let's just throw those in here for now. We might actually want them in I don't know. There's an argument to just do this as like an array of dictionaries, and to also likewise just have an array of our children, or we do them separately. Separately involves like maybe some duplication of code, but it does let us treat them differently, and they should be treated differently, I think, because like the floors are treated differently than the walls and the doors and the decorations. So I think that's reasonable. Anyway, hey Spoose Streams, we're refactoring our code because we've updated to 4.3, and we are implementing the new TileMapLayer as node. It's here somewhere. There it is, TileMapLayers as nodes. This is like a huge deal for us. So we jumped the gun and have adopted the beta version, 4.3 beta 1, and we're refactoring everything. So we are going to need to relative deck tiles. Why do I keep track of this? What do I use that for? Let me see if I actually use this. Relative. How many times did I use this? Relative. Was I tracking these separately from their absolute? Do I use that anywhere? No, I don't. Okay. I don't know why I was doing that. I probably had a reason. I'm not going to do it now, though. Let's get rid of that for now. Comment it out in case we do actually decide we need it. We were going to just record them relatively anyway, I think. Why are they local? What am I using them for? All tiles by level. Oh, I see. We were filling up an array and then assigning that array to the dictionary whole cloth. I see. Yeah, we don't need to do that now. Let's get rid of all of this then. This will probably... I don't know. Probably need to just write a function for this part. Let's write it once here and then make it turn into a function. We actually might want this variable. Then we can do a single assignment at the end. So now we just need to basically remove all references to levels, at least in terms of indexing, because we don't do that anymore. Since each layer is now its own node, don't need to pass that in. We do need to know this though, so calling it our level height. Probably just rename that level height. Or, I don't know, our level. Deck number? I don't know, maybe that. Our level height. Let's just stick with that for now. So if cell.x plus our level height times 4 is greater than cutaway max per level.x. Okay, so this is where we're calculating what the cutaway maximum is. We want to know what the maximum x and y coordinates for each layer are, or each area section. Reasonable. We actually only want that once per the whole layer, or the whole level. We don't care about it per layer. Layer level, it's very confusing. Because we have multiple tile map layers on a given quote-unquote level. So far, this makes sense. So we're just going through testing all of the cells in the get used cells. And we're just seeing which one is the highest or farthest or whatever we want to say, or the lowest. Why aren't we just assigning individual coordinates here? Are we reassigning the whole vector? Doesn't seem necessary. Cell.x plus our level height times 4 is greater than cutaway max dot x. We'll do this once, then we will probably just break this out into a function and reuse it for each of the different layers. Gonna do this real quick here. So what is this appending here? Is this... Okay, so we're calculating the level height, or we're checking the level height here. But then we are also recording the cell. And we're recording the cell using the relative mapping here. Why aren't we actually using the relative mapping function is my question. Have one. We have this relative map. Oh, wait, this does the whole coordinates, doesn't it? Yeah, coordinates.x plus level times 4, coordinates.y times level. Oh, this integrates in the level information. Interesting. Might not actually be able to do it that way. So the tile data runtime update doesn't need the layer anymore, but it does need to know the coordinates. And it just needs to know the coordinates as a vector 2i. But maybe we do want to break this down further to the individual tile map layer. That's a good strong argument for it, because otherwise we are going to need to be able to tell the difference between these, even though we don't have this is the old function. So let's actually go to the docs. Look at TileMapLayer. TileMapLayers. Yeah. TileMapLayers tile data runtime update just takes coordinates. We would need to know. We would need to be able to distinguish them and pass them down correctly. So what we currently have set up implies that this is controlled by this level, the whole level. I think we want to push down one further into the specific layer that we're looking at, because then we can directly call the tile data runtime stuff, tile data runtime update stuff. So otherwise we're gonna have to manage it up here and still call down anyway. We do need to keep track of these, though, because there is some stuff that we need to do that maintains awareness of the other stuff. Maybe we do need to do it here. Maybe we just pass this information down once we've decided what we want to cut away. Maybe that's what we do. And then further down, we let them do the TileMapLayer stuff. That makes sense. Relative deck tiles. So let's get rid of this. It's not this anymore. Deck tiles, relative deck tiles. Maybe we simplify this conditional series. Maybe we just say like let's say something like this. Let's just define, let's say, so for cell and deck plate, we'll say variable relative coordinates. Relative tile coordinates. Relative tile coords is, now this is where we'll use this function. We just have a utility script that lets us do that instead of having to have it be a local. No, it can be local to this. So we'll make a function so we don't have to manually keep casting these things to their, not casting, but you know, mapping, remapping. Function map onto relative coords. This is going to be like this. It's going to take the coordinates. Take the absolute coords is a vector 2i, and we'll spit out a different vector 2i. QB Man, hey, QB Man is rating us with a party of 45 viewers. Oh man, welcome raiders. How's it hanging? Hey, QB Man. Oh, I haven't seen some of these emotes. These are good. Hey, Raiders, welcome in. Hello, hello. How's the stream? How's work going on Linksiders? I am. So we've downloaded Godot, the Godot 4.3 beta 1. and which has for us specifically the tile map layers as nodes. So the tile map layer is split up now. Each layer gets its own node, the new tile map layer node. And it totally broke everything, so we've had to redo our whole scene tree and everything. But we're refactoring that for that now. Mostly wasting time. We don't talk about it, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, hey Raiders. We actually just finished up working on my last project here. Let me grab. I did LD5, Ludum Dare 55 was my first Ludum Dare, which was awesome. I'm having to balance like multiple different Godot versions now, which I don't love doing. And we made this little game here. Why move to a beta? Isn't that sketchy? Yes, it is. I would not recommend it. We did it because we needed a feature from it. So for the last couple of months, we've been working on this, which I won't dwell upon, but this is a following wind. We've been working on this for the last couple of months. This is the extension of our Ludum Dare game. It's a game where you are this god of the wind, and you are guiding ships into your temple. There's sea monsters, there's pirates. The pirates aren't on screen yet. Here's a pirate. So you use the wind to safely guide your ships in. And this is what we've been working on for the last couple of months. But yesterday, I decided that there's not that much more I want to do with this game. You have a few different spell types. So you have like a whirlwind that you can use. You have a lightning strike that you can destroy pirate ships with. And it's all about maintaining a high faith count. So your spells cost faith, but you get faith by safely guiding pilgrims to the temple. We recorded all the music ourselves. There's a big old pirate ship. I'm actually just going to lightning strike him. Yeah, this is what we were doing before. I'm not going to dwell on it because we're kind of moving on. Pretty proud of it. It's my first Godot game, actually. Oh, it's going to hit. Oh, it didn't. Good. Thought it was going to hit one of my little ships here. So that's what we've been working on for the last couple of months. So we took a break. I'm kind of glad we took a break from our main project because this whole tile map issue we were dealing with was pretty bad, and we were starting to engineer around it. It was bad because here's a little prototype. We're doing an FTL-like game, but we're doing it with some vertical stacking. So there's multiple decks, and we're doing kind of a side-on isometric view, which is meant to look like this. So this is pretty cool, but it has some issues as far as like the way walls obscure stuff behind it. So we've been working on a cutaway system so that we can cut away the walls and see the rooms behind. And yeah, we were running into some pretty tough issues with scene collections and tile maps. But now the tile map, instead of this just being one huge tile map with like 16 layers, now it's 4 different levels that each have a tile map layer to it. Let me make it a little more clear what I'm talking about. Probably not a good example. Let's look at this one. This one, so we've got a whole level, and we can have our floors, our walls, have everything be a separate node. And it solves a lot of z-indexing issues we were running into, the doors, the walls, the floors. It's really nice having them be separate nodes. And it's been pretty good. But yeah. So thanks for hanging out, Raiders. Appreciate you listening to my shtick. We're doing all the pixel art ourselves, so pretty interested, pretty excited about coming back to work on this after a few months off. I'm working on our little pirate wind summoning game. Excited to be back in Star Trek land, doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, we are refactoring now, which is not exciting, unfortunately. I wish I had more fun stuff to show at the moment, but we're doing the very unsexy work of splitting out all of this logic that was premised on working with a single tile map that held everything to now working with a bunch of separate tile map layers. And so we're encapsulating, we're just pushing everything out from being done like top down to more of an encapsulated model of doing everything, where we just push the information needed down and it's handled as locally as possible. Turn my music back on. We've got ads in a minute, but we'll just be hanging out. All right, so we were going to set the relative tile coords because tile maps are interesting in that they basically, there's like a global coordinate system, sort of. So a tile map layer isn't really aware of its layer and how that might be impacted by its z-indexing. So we're having to manually offset the tile positions so that we can reason about them better. So that we can more intuitively imagine how a tile might be a floor above another tile, even though its absolute tile mapping is like 4 over. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to have our map onto relative. Just call it like relative tile mapping. And this is just going to say it needs information. It needs to know our level height is the only thing it needs to know. So we'll grab this. This is a good example. Grab this, and it will be absolute coords dot x plus our level height times 4. And that will give us our relative tile mapping. Then, conversely, we would want as well an absolute tile mapping. Absolute tile mapping function that reverses that. So it takes our relative tiles and converts them back. We actually might not want that here. Maybe we do. We could do all of this one level. OBS disconnected. Oh, hope it's okay. Reconnection successful. All right. Scaring me. Yeah, I'm interested in hearing if anyone else is working on something in Godot. There's a lot of new faces here. Very excited for Kuvi's project. I'm not much of a puzzler, but it seems like a really cool take. All right, absolute coords. So it's not plus anymore. It's gonna be minus. Pretty simple to reverse this, but I just like encapsulating this kind of thing in a function. Probably put the return. All right, so that should be good. We might not need both of these here. see. You definitely need the relative tile mappings. I'm really tempted to just do all of this one level down on the individual TileMapLayer nodes. Because right now we're doing it on their parent, so we're having to handle like all 4 of the layers, which is kind of not very robust. Because if I like decide I want an additional layer here, maybe like there's floors and walls and doors and decorations. Maybe I want like an additional, maybe I want multiple decoration layers because I want to stack decorations on the same tile. Or I don't know, maybe we change that whole paradigm to be something else. This isn't super robust to that. It would need manual coding changes. So maybe if we push it down one level further, maybe we get around that. But let's finish writing out the logic, and then we can just decide where that logic should sit. That should be easier. So the relative tile coords is the relative tile mapping of the cell that we grabbed. Yeah, we're gonna need to replicate this for each of these, and I don't love that. Okay, so now we can replace a lot of this logic. We can say, we should say if .x is greater than that .x, or we can make this just one thing, right? We could OR it, or we could, I don't know. I guess this is fine. We don't really need to do it this way. We need to do this component by component, because I find if I'm comparing the entire vector, it doesn't work exactly right. Like, it'll look at the whole vector and be like, that's not greater than this other vector. It's like, well, we're not looking at the vector as a whole. We're looking at the specific components. If a specific component has exceeded. So I think we have to do this component by component. I don't think there's a way around it. Maybe there is. I'm just not seeing it. But let's keep it simple for now. So relative deck tiles will append this cell. Which we don't need all this nonsense. We just need the relative tile coords. And then at the end of this, once we're done iterating, we will just assign this whole array. Oh, we can't really do that, can we? Why can't we do that? Because this was a dictionary? Yeah, it's because it's a dictionary. Why did that work originally? Why did that work here? Because we were assigning it to a specific, I see. It was dictionary mapped to this. I see. Oh, the cutaway tiles is the dictionary. I see. This is just an array. Okay. This is just an array of vector 2i's. Dictionary part is this cutaway tile entity. I'm almost certain that we're going to actually push this down farther. To the individual TileMap layers. Doesn't this work? Oh. Okay, so this provides us with the list of deck tiles in their relative form. Problem is, we will need... I guess the question is whether we store them in their relative form or their absolute form by default. We'll need to convert them back for this part, for this use tile data runtime update and the tile data runtime update. The use tile data runtime update will just says these tiles, or this tile needs to change. And then this function, the tile data runtime update, makes the actual change. Right. Oh, we seem to be storing these in their absolute form. It's actually maybe what we can do, because we could just cast the... We have these cutaway coordinates. We could just cast the cutaway coordinates to the absolute form. Instead of casting all of the individual tiles into a relative form, we could go the other way. That would be less work, right? Then we're just changing the input that we're checking against, not having to change every single piece of data. I don't know why I didn't do that before. All right, so yeah, I'm convinced that we're going to push this down one level to the TileMapLayer. What are we going to call this, though? Am I going to need a script? I don't know. I guess I'm just going to call it... I shouldn't call it TileMapLayer. That would be dumb. Call it ship layer? No, ship layer. So we'll have ship layer levels and ship layers. For now, let's call it ship interior layer, just because that seems to be my naming convention. Even though I don't like that I'm separating the interior from the exterior in terms of logic. I think I'm going to change that. Let's change that now. So we're going to call this the ship layer. Call it ship TileMapLayer. Ship TileMapLayer. Gordon Shamway, thank you for the follow. Yeah, the Enomoth always comes in with the wisdom. The hardest part of programming, just deciding names, a naming convention. Shouldn't be hard for me because I'm the only person working on this project. Yeah, let's do some renaming. We also need to clean up some old scripts, but we're not going to do that part right now. So I have this ship interior chunk concept, and I don't know what it was. I guess that's what I was referring to. This whole thing. I don't love that. It looks like we have some scripts in the scenes folder. Classic. Yeah, I was like, I can't find my scripts. They're in the scenes folder. They are always in the scenes folder. Love hanging out with the scenes. All right, so let's unify this naming convention as best as we can. So ship interior is not really a great name. But I don't have a better name for it right now, so we'll leave it. However, ship TileMapLayer and interior ship level. We're just going to rename interior ship level to ship level. And we're going to rename ship TileMapLayer to ship layer. So now we have levels and layers, which is confusing but consistent. And I'll take that, I guess. So we're moving some logic from the level down to the layer now. So we're going to do something similar to what we were doing here. So we've been basically doing like a bus, sort of a bus, a call down kind of bus of this increment or decrement cutaway coordinates. And we were doing this part here. But what we should do is just move this logic down. Let's take this. I think calling this increment or decrement is a little weird. We could just call it increment and everyone would know what we're talking about, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm in a mood where all the names, all of my function and variable names are really short, and sometimes I'm in a mood where all of my function and variable names are really long. I kind of go back and forth on that depending on my mood. I guess the last couple of days I've been in a long function and variable naming mood. I hate when the names get so short that you have no idea what you're talking about anymore. Okay, so we're just going to keep pushing these down, these accumulator ticks. Which are the things, that's where the input handler keeps track of when one of these ticks over and then sends those down. So we have this long chain from the input handler down to whoever needs them. It keeps us from having to check for input in the process function, which I like not doing that. I like not listening every single frame in the process function just for something to happen, like input. I mean, I could also just have the function input. But I don't think I can use input actions if I do it that way. I kind of like the input action stuff. That's what they're called. Got this input. This so I could use the event. I could pass in input and use the event, but I kind of like this. At least then now I only have one script that's like constantly listening to input, and then we just trickle that input down. We just filter it and send it down. That's okay. That's good enough for me. Okay, so this is going to presume. So we're going to say... Oh, that's maybe not the section of script that I wanted to copy down. If cumulative cutaway is not equal to... Cool. Oh, okay, so we're going to just... Cumulative cutaway. Should I just send down the new cutaway coordinates? No, I shouldn't, because each one has its own minimum and maximum. Each layer has its own maximum it can be, so I'm not going to do this. So we're actually going to copy this whole thing. Copy this whole thing down to the layer. It doesn't have a bunch of these, which is fine. So we need cutaway coordinates. Vector 2i. We need the cutaway min and cutaway max. Should I just shorten this to coords? I feel like I should just do that for the sake of space. Cutaway coords, variable, cutaway max. Cutaway max. 2i, variable, cutaway. I could call this, instead of max and min, I could just call this cutaway extent. Make this a vector 4i. Kind of like that. I love it when my variables line up. The cumulative cutaway is our cutaway coords .x and .y plus the accumulator ticks .x.y clamped by the cutaway extent .x z w, or no, it should be min x, min y, and then maximum should be z and w. I should name it extent. We call this accumulated ticks. Probably should call it that. I don't know if we need to necessarily do this if. We should filter for this somewhere else. Oh, no, I guess we can't. We could do... How do we do this higher up? So the interior does this. So the interior... So the ship overall checks to see which level is changing with this cumulative level index. I think we should just trim the information we don't need anymore. Or 3. Maybe we send it down anyway? I don't know. No, let's trim it. So let's make a new vector 2i. And let's say accumulated ticks.x. We don't need the z anymore, so let's get the z out of there. Y. 1 second. My partner's kind of sick. I'm just checking if she needs anything. All right. So yeah, let's trim out the information we don't need. All right, so that's the input handler. So we go down from the input handler. The ship interior, which I want to rename because I want to include the exterior here too. We check to see if the z index has changed. If the z index has changed, we do that stuff, and then we pass down to the correct level the x and y accumulated ticks. I feel like we should check to see if those have changed at all. So let's do that. If accumulated ticks.x not equal to 0, or accumulated ticks dot y not equal to 0. Hey Thobit, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. We're hanging out. It's going. All right, okay, so we're checking to see if there are any changes. If there are any changes, let's propagate them down. If there aren't, we shouldn't need to do anything. So if just the z-index changes, like if we just hop down from this level to this level or something like that. We shouldn't need to tell the levels about that because we're handling that here at the top with a, oh, where is it? Oh no, we are telling them about that, but all we're doing is telling them that the highest visible level has changed. We're not sending them the accumulated ticks for the cutaway coordinates unless those have changed. Then down in the level, which is the next layer down, and we're getting pretty deep here. This is very different than our version with just the one tile map that we managed. I kind of prefer this version, but it's definitely more complicated. Yeah, we're handling the visible level here with the setter. It's controlling the visibility. And then down here, this is where we are. So we're doing this. So we don't actually need to do this. What we need to do, we need to check the cumulative cutaway. Is this just a proxy for routing the information correctly? It seems like that is the case. So let's have an array just called TileMapLayers, I think. Dribble TileMapLayers. Array of TileMapLayers. And this is where we can add that robustness. So if we add or remove TileMapLayers, we're not like hard-coded to dealing with a specific one. So we just need to open question whether we want to keep track of all of this here. I'm gonna hide this for now. Not hide, but you know, maybe hide. I'm gonna comment that out for now. We're gonna say all we're gonna do is for so this will only, I could just get the children. So let's get for child in get children. I can't specify what kind of, okay, so I can include internal, but I don't need to do that. And then so I can say if child is TileMapLayer, I can say that. So if the child is a TileMapLayer, we want to add it to our TileMapLayers. Append the child as TileMapLayer. That should get us all our TileMapLayers, assuming we eventually start adding children to this level. Not have one. Probably do the same thing up here with the levels. Do we do that? How do we sort through our levels? Okay, we do the same thing here. We just say interior ship levels is an array. Okay. We can get rid of a lot of this stuff. Don't care about any of that. We don't care about this. Export ship level count. I actually don't want to do it this way, do I? I want this to be something that we set here. Let's get rid of the export. We'll just count the ship levels. Let's get rid of this. I'm trying to make this as robust changes as I can. For level and get children, ship levels.append. So we go through this whole process. So we do this. So we'll say ship level count is ship levels dot. I guess we don't necessarily need to count this. Dot size. All right, that's good. And then we go, don't need this hint. Okay, that's all we need. I like having this very minimal yet involved hierarchy here. Adds in 1 minute. Do that. Skip level, here we go. Okay, so we do this thing, we get our child, we get our children, we get all of the layers. We may or may not want a layer count. Not do one until we feel we need it. We don't need a process. So this is a lot of the logic we are pushing down. So accumulator ticks is now accumulated ticks. Call it something else. Could call it like coordinate delta or something. I don't know. We're already checking to see that it's changed. So I think all we do here is we actually don't have any of this logic. We just pass. We moved all of this logic down to the layer, I think. Yeah, we did. And here we just basically get rid of all of this and we just forward this down, or, you know, continue passing this information down. So we're going to say for layer in TileMapLayers layer dot increment or decrement away coordinates. We'll probably come up with a much shorter name for this, like update cutaway coordinates or something. So yeah, I'm sure I'll get in a mood to do that. So now we know we're passing this along to each layer underneath us. This stuff, this absolute and relative tile mapping, can go down well to the next layer. This is where we're going to need it. Our level height, we're going to need to know this. I guess we need to keep track of our parent, who is going to be the one that holds this information. So we'll say onReady variable ship level. It's going to be a node2d equals just our parent, right? Just say dot like that. Can we just say get parent? Parent as node2d. Put that in here. Ship level dot r level height. Ship level dot r level height. Right now we need to plug in whatever else we need for this. So the cutaway tiles is what we really need. They're really the tiles to cut away. call it that. Variable tiles to, but I don't know. I don't love that. I prefer just cutaway tiles. For tile and okay, so there's no concept of hull tiles anymore, which is maybe the issue. So we just need to keep track of our own tiles. No. Variable our tile cells. Array. Vector 2. Wait, I don't need to do that. I don't need an array of this. We have that as a TileMapLayer. That would be get used cells. Get used cells by ID. Maybe we don't need a separate wall layer. Their source ID. Right now we have doors as a separate layer, but maybe we don't want to do that. We could actually simplify this a lot by pressing this down. Right now, none of these things can overlap. Like, you'll never have a deck plate overlapping a hull plate, or overlapping a door panel, or overlapping a decoration. I guess the decoration might overlap. The decks, the hulls, and the doors wouldn't. So am I making this unnecessarily difficult for myself by doing it this way? I might be making this. Oh, well, no, we do need the doors to be separate from the floors, because a floor and a door might actually overlap. That might happen. Okay, so let's just keep them separate for now. That's a potential optimization. All it would really let us do is put the walls and the doors in the same layer, which I don't really want to do anyway, but possible. Could be useful. So let's move. So here we go. So for tile in, just say, so for tile cell in get used cells. This is the absolute mapping. So what we should do if cumulative cutaway is not equal to the cutaway coordinates, what we should do is say variable absolute cutaway so the absolute cutaway towards is the absolute mapping. Do an absolute tile mapping of cumulative cutaway. For the tile cell here, it just absolute coords. All right, so we've got that logic. So if we exceed the absolute coords here, if not, okay, so now we deal with the cutaway tile. So the cutaway tiles has so this can be a vector 2 now because we're not worried about layer. We're no longer concerned about layer. In fact, we can just pass in tile cell. Oh, we can actually simplify this logic. If cutaway tiles doesn't have it, add it. Take away both of these conditionals. So we don't actually care if the dictionary doesn't have this tile cell, or if it does have it and it's just false. Either way, we want to add it and make it true. We get rid of that conditional. We say if. Okay, so if it's not, if it shouldn't be cut away, then we ask if it has it. And if it does, it's true, we make it false. If it's false already, then we erase it. Okay, we're simplifying this. There's a lot of additional information we no longer have to pass down because we're doing it at a lower level. Or deeper level, I guess, in the tree. You could say. Now we need to update the coordinates itself. Cutaway coords. Cumulative cutaway. Okay, now we need to add this tile update stuff. So now we've determined which tiles we want to hide or make visible. Now we have to actually tell the system about them. We have to tell the actual tile map layer. So we say function, what is this called? There's notify runtime tile data update, which we actually do need at the bottom of the screen. So let's say that. So this is the last thing we need to add in this increment or decrement. We need to say notify runtime tile data update. Now we can at least do that very particularly to just the layer we want to work on instead of the whole tile map. That's also a really nice optimization. What is this called? Tile data runtime. It's going to say use tile data runtime update. How did I do this? Where do I call this? Does this just gets called automatically, right? Yeah, it gets called for every single tile in the tile map layer. So we're going to say return cutaway tiles.has. Okay. Weird that we're applying a relative mapping here. I think we'd want to try to work with the absolute mapping whenever we can. Just the actual mapping of the tile map coords. Return cutaway tiles.has coords. Weird. Why do I say it that way? Why do I return has when I bother to set the Boolean value for it? Oh, okay. So we trigger the update if it's in the cutaway tiles, and then when we do the update, that's where we check to see if we want to make it clear or full colored. Why isn't there a clear color, like color primitive? I don't know what you want to call it, like a preset. So we say func, and we say tile data runtime update towards vector2i, and we say, okay, we set the modulate. So we're going to say tile data dot modulate equals. So there really isn't a pre-made for this. Color dot. No, there really isn't. There isn't like a clear, which to me would be white, RGB, and then an empty, a 0 for the alpha. I feel like that should be on this list of colors. Don't think it is. Okay, that's fine. Constant, clear, color equals. Wait, it'll be that color 1 1 1 0. Actually, I guess if I'm changing that, I could just say modulate.a, right? I don't even need a color. Yeah, okay. That's why. If you just want to change the A, just change the A. Color equals 0 if cutaway tiles towards else 1. Super easy. If we want to cut away the tile, we make it 0. We make it alpha 0. If not, we make it 1. We don't lose the color. We don't use the tile data or lose the tile data. We don't reset the tiles or anything. We just change the alpha. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Get rid of this process. We are going to need the ready. We need... Oh, no, we don't. We don't really need the ready anymore, do we? Because we're not preparing data. We're just getting the used cells directly, and we're just utilizing their absolute mapping. Yeah. That's like... I don't know if it's a programming technique or just common sense, but whenever I feel like I'm doing something like an overcomplicated way, if I just turned the whole thing upside down, it's usually a lot easier. Like here, we were preparing all of these tile coordinates to accept their relative position. So like, because we want, this wall chunk, this chunk of wall to be seen as directly above this chunk, but it won't be because of how tile coordinate mapping works. It'll be 4 down and 4 over instead of just directly 1 above, because it has no concept of the third dimension. And so I was like converting all of these tiles into their relative positions so that I could reason about them. And we still might need to do that ultimately for a lot of cases. But for this case, just do the opposite. Just flip the input coordinate. Just change the input coordinate, which is relative, and change it to the absolute version of it instead of doing it the opposite, instead of making every other tile their relative version. So yeah, if a process feels overcomplicated, just turn it upside down or inside out, or however you want to visualize that. I'm suspicious of not needing any initialization here. Double check. Go up to the level. So yeah, this is all we were doing. Oh, we do need to set the cutaway maximum and minimum. Yeah. That we do need to. We do need to set the cutaway extent. So let's do that. Let's do that at least. Because we want to know where the edges of each layer is. Like how far the minimum and maximum tiles are. Let's do that. And that's it, I think. Then we can hit the play button and see all the horrible errors that we've accumulated. Love doing that. I love hitting that point. Extent is going to be a vector 4. We've got our minimum and our maximum here. Velocity of Z, that's it's pretty rough. That's life, I guess. Sorry to hear that. All right, we don't need this relative deck tile thing. We just need to iterate through all of the cells. So for tile cell, in get used cells, we don't need to relative map it. I'm going to use the absolute map. So if tilecell.x is greater than the cutaway extent dot z. I don't know if I love extent versus maximum and minimum. Because I have to remember that z and w are the max and x and y are the minimum, but not that bad. Probably want to reorder this. Doesn't really matter. I guess I could just have this as like a big ternary thing. Say cutaway extent equals vector 4 I. I could just go through each one. I could say tile cell dot x if tile cell dot x is less than cutaway extent x, else cutaway extent x. Probably better. I really don't like using chains of if else's, even though like a ternary is not like, I don't think a ternary is much more optimal. It looks better to me. I like the look of it. We'll just make all 4 of these and we'll just fix it so the logic is correct. We'll say if tile x will be tile cell.y if tile cell.y is less than cutaway extent.y, else cutaway extent.y. X if x is greater than cutaway extent.x, else, or is greater than cutaway extent.z, else cutaway extent.z. Then y if tile cell.y is greater than cutaway extent.w, else cutaway extent.w. There we go. We made it a single assignment instead of this chain. I don't know how that looks to the compiler, but looks good to me. That should be all the initialization we need. Now we need to put this script on each of our tile map layers. pretty great. Now the system inherently remembers where the cutaways were for each layer. Even when we switch Z indexes or Z layers, it remembers the XY layers because it just doesn't update otherwise. Kind of cool. This should all work. I'm weirdly concerned that the absolute and the tile and the relative tile mapping should be reversed. Oh no, it shouldn't because we count up from 0. Which doesn't go in line with the Godot Y coordinates. Like the Y coordinates face, or the Y axis faces down in Godot, and I'm counting up with 0 being the lowest one and 4 being the highest one. I feel like that's intuitive, but we might reverse that to be consistent with Godot. We'll have to decide. We'll have to decide that pretty soon, but we don't have to decide it right now. I really need to make this like I already had this design, so I didn't want to do it. Like I already had this layout of tiles, so I didn't want to crash it to just make these scenes, like inherited scenes. But now that we're figuring out the architecture, I probably should go back and make them inherited scenes from like one common ship level and ship layer parent. Not parent, but you know what I mean. Whatever the opposite of inheritor is. Ancestor, I don't know. What do we call that? Ship layer. Can I just drag a script onto a node and it just... Yeah, okay, sick. I was like, do I really have to do the whole attach script thing? Apparently the answer is no. Pretty rad. Just drag it from the file system into the scene tree. Pretty cool. All right, okay, scripts everywhere. Scripts for days, scripts on everything. I hope I put the right scripts on everything. Okay, we can get rid of this. We can get rid of a lot of this. I'm gonna hold on to it for now in case I want it, but get rid of this at least. All this stuff. We don't really know about this stuff. All right. So what are my concerns? Yeah, my concerns are that we are not setting our level height. Right now, our level height is an export variable, which I don't love. There isn't a really better way to do that right now. We could have it be assigned based on where they're at in the scene tree, but that's like not better. Can you reassign positions in the scene tree like within, like can you move nodes up and down like programmatically? Like move this node before this node? Can I order stuff within the tree, or is that really not how it works? Haven't really tried that yet. If we can do that, I would feel more comfortable assigning it programmatically, because we're eventually going to need like a ship editor where you can like, or at least I can edit the ships, like have a better tool system. I don't know if we'll make it available to the end user, but I at least need like a tool, and being able to do some of that stuff programmatically would be cool. All right, so I think we got the level height export variables plugged in. That's good. Let's just run it and see what kind of crazy errors we get. I'm running out of time, so hopefully we don't get too many. I'm expecting many. Okay, just hanging up would be cool. We probably need to initialize some value. It's not happy with me. Something has happened. On cutaway accumulator ticked over or under. Do we not have this function? Non-existent function in base nil. Okay, so you not getting the game manager? Get node root game manager. Does that not work? Okay, I don't love that. So that's our first issue. Let's stop running. Let's figure out why the game manager is nil. Game manager has that function, right? On cutaway accumulator ticked over or under, so it has the function. This is not great either, having this hard-coded here. Having the ship and focus be hard-coded. Let's see why that is. So it's an onReady variable. We got the manager. We use get node, and we use this path. This should be the right path, right? Because game manager is the root of the scene. The only thing above it should be the root. The root is at the top. Yeah, it should be the right way to do that. Weird that it says it's not here. It's being called from an autoloader that I'm pretty sure is loaded. I mean, it must be loaded or it wouldn't call itself. Okay, so that's our first issue. Why is that not happening? Is it happening in ready? No, this is happening in process. And it's complaining that the game manager is on cutaway accumulator ticked over or under. The issue is not the function. The issue is that the base is nil. Pretty sure. With my long ass function names. Right. Why is that a problem? I need to say something like, say something weird, like get tree. Didn't need to do that, right? Do autoloaders just behave weirdly? Is that maybe part of the problem? Should I just like hard code this? Oh, it's not a node 2D. I'm an idiot. It's a regular node. That's why it's not working. I was like, what's going on here? Let's try that again. Oh, it's working. Look at that. The accumulator's a little slow, but we went down one level. We can only go down from one level to the next level, which is a little weird. Probably because I'm resetting the Z anytime it changes, which is not how we want that to work. We want the X and the Y to reset. Okay, I know what's happening here. It's this. So if the accumulator ticked over... Well, actually, this is how we want it. Are we just not handling it correctly in the game manager? Keep in focus, dot increment or declare. Okay, so we send this directly down. Then in the ship level, not in the ship level, the ship interior. So here we say cumulative level index is the highest visible level index plus the accumulated ticks.z, and it's clamped between 0 and ship level count -1. So what is ship level count then? Levels.append, ship level count equals ship levels.size. Let's run it and see what we get. It should say 4. Remote, ship interior, ship level count 4. Highest visible level 3. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's see if we can... Nope. Something's upset. So layer... This is now... Increment or decrement cutaway coordinates in base TileMapLayer shipLayer.gd. So this function doesn't exist? I find that hard to believe. Oh, I made it. That is not a private function. I don't know why I made it a private function. All I want to do is see some coordinates. Accumulated ticks, vector 2i. Can I convert argument from one vector 2i to vector 3i? Why do you want... You still want a vector 3i? Okay. Okay, these are easy bugs. These are good bugs to find. They're easy bugs. They don't seem to totally be working. Oh boy, that's a mess. Oh, okay, kind of works down there. I don't know why the doors have not been included in this. All right, well, it's doing something. It's not doing what we want. I think the accumulator is really slow, so we're not going up or down like we would want. Oh yeah, there's some funky stuff happening right now. All right, it's sort of working. See how it like peels away the X or the Z, or the X or the Y, and it peels away all of the levels. So it's peeling away the walls, the doors. There's a bit of an offset here, which I don't love. Probably need to go +1 or minus. We need probably an offset for like the walls, maybe. The accumulator speed is crazy. Thanks, Verlansky. It's definitely needs some work, but it's sort of doing what we're asking. I think I'm mapping the axes wrong or something. Something's very weird. Maybe the accumulator speed is just too high. Oh, there's some mapping that I'm doing to make this work with a joystick. It's not to make it to work with a joystick. It's because we're using the X and Y of the TileMapLayer, not the X and Y of the Godot coordinate system. Yeah, 3D mechanics in 2D. Yeah, that's the source of part of this problem, I think. Okay, well it's kind of working. We refactored all the weird structural stuff. There's just maybe something else that's going wrong. That's okay. But I appreciate everyone hanging out for this. I have to go now. But let's see. Who can we raid? Oop. Which... Get that sweet infinity shot here. Oh my god. Alright, who's streaming Godot? I do kind of love this. I'm kind of want to watch and wait for it to finish. Oh, you kept missing. Oh, you got your jam project to work. That's awesome. I'm waiting to see this finish. This I want to see this infinity mirrored to like terminate. I usually don't do this. This is kind of funny. I'm having a good time. It's still going back there. See, it hasn't terminated. I feel like it's getting close. This is good. All right. Infinite Iliads, yeah. This is fun. All right, I think we got it. I can't see it anymore. Oh, that was fun. All right. What are we rating? Lewis is streaming. We haven't hung out with Lewis in a while. Lewis is doing this really cool Digimon with guns game in Godot. Yeah, Lewis is rad. Let's go check out. Let's go hang out with Lewis. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me. I appreciate all the raiders. Thank you, Kubimon, bringing all the raiders by. I'm gonna hand you off here to a pretty cool game dev who does also, like me, is doing a pixel art Godot game. He's pretty cool. Luis Morera. See if I can spell his name. I always have a struggle with that. I hope everyone has a great rest of your Friday and an awesome weekend. And we'll be back next week to figure out what horrible issues we have with our code. Yeah, thanks everyone. And until next time, bye.